Welcome to you out there, my astrology friends. A big hug and let's get started. This is a video with me, Veerle, Veerle, about the full moon. And it's going to happen around and about the 15th of November of 2024. There's going to be a full moon at 24 degrees of Taurus, and it's going to oppose the sun at 24 degrees of Scorpio. What is this all about? In this video, I'm going to explain in depth the interpretation of that energy, and during that day, what's happening with the planets, and then very quickly at the 12 signs, where is this energy playing out for you, and what kind of area of life? So, what a full moon this is! What a full moon! It's not a typical full moon in Taurus at all, and I'll explain why. First of all, full moons does bring things to consciousness because the sun opposes the moon. We get clarity. There is a culmination energy. There is like, okay, these things become very clear to me. And it depends, of course, of what we've done before that, of the things that we've done or not done before. We're going to see results. That's what a full moon is all about. It's very much about seeing the results of what you did before. So that's one. Second, it's in Taurus at 24 degrees. Full moons in Taurus are all about the Taurus themes like security, emotional stability, financial stability, enjoying life with the five senses, good quality products, calmness and stability and groundedness. People with the moon in Taurus, you want to go to them when you are totally emotionally all over the place, right? Because these people, they have the feet on the ground and they listen and they are calm and they give space. That is so important when we are all over the place. But of course, the sun is in Scorpio, so we're having this opposition playing out on the axis of the second house, which is Taurus, to the 8th house, which is Scorpio. So this is also about values. What do we value versus what does another value? So these are the power houses. Remember, power plays are often common in relationships when there is an opposition between that's mine and the other person is saying that is mine. And that's my value versus that's your value. I want the curtains to be red and you want them to be orange. It's a simple example, but that's how it's playing out. People with Taurus energy, they hold on to what they have. And they it's like they are like a container of things and stability and, the solidity of that. Now, is it a typical moon in Taurus? So we all gonna feel somewhere that we want to protect our safety, our stability in life. The second house of Taurus is related to our assets, our financial resources, what we own, but also our confidence, our respect for ourselves, first and foremost, the self-love. These are all topics of the Taurian. Now, guess what? Who's there next to the moon at 24 degrees of Taurus? Yes, it's Uranus. It's at 25 degrees of Taurus. And yes, it's the fixed star Caput Algol, who doesn't got the best reputation at the very end of Taurus. Now, let's start with that Caput Algol. That is an energy of, a lot of people seem to forget that, but it's also a fixed star of wealth, finances, wealth, but also of a star of the Medusa, right? The losing one's head and going over the top and not being, losing your head physically and not physically. Oh my goodness. We have to take these things into account that we're looking at astrology and at fixed star, at old astrology, and they're describing things like losing one's head. They were meaning this, right? But now these days we have to take the astrology and extrapolate it into this today. And this is more about figuratively losing your head, right? Going over the top. So, but that can go on and this is important. We can use that in a good way as well. We can use it in a bad way. We can use it in a good way as well, going over the top and, trying to secure our security. I think a lot of us, in general, very general, it's got to have to do with that. Uranus is in the mix as well. And what does Uranus mean? Uranus, the biggest value and misunderstood value of Uranus is freedom and individuality. We're going to have Moon conjunct Uranus. We're going to have Sun opposite Uranus. Look into natal charts of people with strong Uranus. With a strong Uranus, I mean with the Moon and the Sun in a connection with Uranus, or on an ascendant, on an IC, or on an MC, or even on the descendant. These people, big value, number one, is individuality. I do what I want and I do it the way that I want to do it. It's also about honesty and about openness and about the truth and about intuition. So, and it's very often misunderstood because if you are using this Uranus in a way of the rebellion, I'm cutting you off because I don't like it, that's another story. But let's use it for people who are conscious and who are in a situation that has been bottling up. And then we have a Moon Uranus, and then people are cutting relationships off. They are cutting out things that they should, I don't like that word, but anyway, that are outdated and that we should have cut out of our lives way earlier. But hey, life isn't easy, is it? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And with Uranus, we have that opportunity of courage and also of not being emotional, doing it, not being emotional and not looking back. I'll give you an example. Sometimes it is said that people with Moon Uranus, Sun Uranus, they are very unpredictable and they have no responsibility and they are cool and cold. It's nothing further from the truth because they are doing that for a reason. So if you have Moon Uranus or Sun Uranus in a natal chart and in this area now, in this energy, it means that we all somewhere in our lives, which I'll have a look at in a minute, we have been bottling up and not speaking our truth, not saying and defending our individual freedom. And when you are stuffing that up, the more you stuff it up, the more it's going to explode. If you are a person who's not stuffing up and who's regularly talking about what you see is what you get and you're saying your truth, you're not going to have those big outbursts. But even a Taurian with Moon Uranus now is going to outburst. It's going to get an outburst and an explosion energy because of bottling up too much. That should have been said earlier. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say I have a relationship with a person for 10 years because, Taurus is about fixed energy. Let's say a woman has a relationship of 10 years and she's been, saying with the person because that person gave her financial security, for instance. This person gave her, or whatever, maybe this person gave her what she wanted that particular time 10 years ago. And that was maybe financial security, having a couple of kids, and so on and so on. It's not about judgment here of what your value is, number one. Let's say for that woman, it's financial security. But that comes with a price. Let's say after those 10 years, yes, she's financially secure, but that person, her partner is just, being unfaithful and going to this woman, or the other way around, a man, and he likes the finances of the woman, but the woman is like going everywhere. I'm not saying that this always occurs, not at all. It's just an example. Now with Moon Uranus, this woman that had enough, and something happens, of course, there's a circumstance, an event out there that is going to trigger that. And she's going to say, emotionally, that person is already distancing herself from that person emotionally. So that on the day that Moon Uranus is so volatile and it's present, she's going to cut off, and she's not going to look back. She's going to say, yeah, I know. And you're not getting the house, or you're not getting the car, or you're not. So she's going to say, so that person has freed herself up. She has freed herself up and said, you know what, I'm going to work. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get financial security. And, it's that kind of energy. Or maybe it's a man who has been saying like, rule number one for a woman is that she's pretty. Let's say rule number one, let's say you're a young man, he marries a woman because she's super, super attractive and that boosts the energy of that guy. And so that was number one priority for him, that she was beautiful, pretty, and for the relationship with his clients and whatnot, and seeing this pretty woman and so on. But that woman can just absolutely be boring or not doing anything in the house and whatnot. And all of a sudden that energy builds up and builds up. Let's say his values is changing, that this is not number one priority anymore. Having this beautiful woman on his side. Then he can cut it off and say, look, that's not my priority anymore. But it's that process of, before that full moon, it's the process of us building up emotional detachment, which is a bit like a moon in Aquarius, moon with Uranus. It's like this emotional detachment of who do you think you are, that you can kind of get away with this. And so people will be cutting off other people a lot around this time. Of course, for the good or for the bad, right? Sometimes we can cut off relationships too soon. That's also Moon Uranus. So think twice. Well, this is not a lot about thinking, but this is a lot about these emotions. They are at a certain time. You're not getting that point we all have, that we're getting emotional because we don't like it and blah, 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 and da, da, da. All of a sudden, we don't get emotional anymore. It's done. Finito. Done. And no way back. They're going to cut cords. That's the energy. The same if you're in a relationship, at work, where you've been building up. Yes, I'll deal with it. Financial security is important for me because, every time, when I work, for instance, for a company that was, it's giving me every month a certain amount of money, and that gives you a security, but it's also like a golden cage kind of thing. And you deal with other stuff that you kind of think, oh, is my soul, dying here because I'm dealing with this, which is not me, which is not my value, Taurus. And all of a sudden you will be done with it and say, bye-bye. And but you won't have that money every month. So you will have to make sure that you get money every month because you've got bills to pay, you've got mortgage and whatnot. But Moon Uranus is like super detached and saying, I'll get it done. It's that kind of energy. It's very strong energy. Use it for the good. Use it for if you're in a situation where you have been building up. Don't wait until you explode. Just say to yourself, cut it off. Mercury, by the way, is opposing Jupiter during this time. So there are going to be a lot of conversations about this is my truth and this is your truth and blah, blah, blah. Mercury opposing Jupiter. A lot of people will find themselves entitled to cut these things off. But don't forget that this has a good thing as well. If I wouldn't have this energy of Moon Uranus in my natal chart, I would have still worked in that company. It gives you courage. It gives you courage and an individuality of your values, Moon and Taurus. Listen to them. Listen to your own compass, because you will have to deal with the consequences. You, yourself, and no one else. Can you deal with it? If you can deal with it, don't listen to other people, what they are saying to you. So it's a lot about returning into your intuition, your own compass. When I decided to cut off that company and to say no more, Yes, I was in the midst of renovation. A lot of people, everyone said I was crazy. Everyone, family, friends, you name it. But there were two people who said, yeah, go for it, which was myself. I felt secure enough to do it. And I said to myself, you know, if I have to clean to earn money, then I will do it. You know, it's that far of, you know, your value. And of course, I had my partner who also said, okay, go ahead. You know, that, and all the rest is like, but the most important is yourself. You know, can you, if you're going to cut off relationships, situations, whatever it is, ask yourself the question, will I be able to be dealing with the consequences? If not, don't do it. Don't do it, right? Because it's going to change. You know, Uranus is the planet of sudden change and you can't go back, you know. A lot of this it will come out of the blue. A lot of this is unexpected energy for sure. I love this, but most people don't. I love this. I love to use this energy. And I'm inviting you to do the same for your stability, for your freedom, for your maturity and responsibility. Okay. Yes, it's on Capricorn. Yes, it's on Uranus. But hey, you are the captain of your ship. Keep it that way. Very powerful Uranus. It's very strong-minded people, you know, and doing things their own way. Now, the rule of Venus is in Capricorn. So at 4 degrees. So again, this is an emphasis on, you could say, this is an emphasis again on security, on stability and maturity. Mars opposes Pluto, meanwhile. Again, watch the video about Mars opposite Pluto. I can talk days about that. And after this full moon, that's also interesting, Saturn goes direct. So again, this Venus is now in a Saturn-ruled sign of Capricorn. And going direct means like things go forwards with those boundaries that we want to do here, even if it's in Pisces, right? So where is it that you want? And of course, Moon Uranus and Sun Uranus, it's also karmically an end. So when people have Uranus transits, I always recommend them like, look, what's gonna, you know, be as conscious as you can and do things step by step. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but do things as conscious as you can and step by step. So when Uranus comes, you're prepared for the change. So welcome the change, right? Don't resist it, because then it's going to come out of the blue. But Uranus is never going to take away something that is still important for your evolution. I know this sounds a bit esoteric, but that's how Uranus is working out. So for better or for worse, it depends on what you did before. We can use this full moon as a result of freeing ourselves up. Very quickly, I'm going to have a look where that is for you. For Aries, this is happening in your second house. Again, for better or for worse, depending what you did before, this can be an unexpected windfall. And I hope it is for you. But there's a shift in your value. What you find important, maybe 10 years ago, you're not finding important anymore. And this turns things upside down, especially also in relationships, because this is the opposition of the power struggle, remember. Taurus, the whole intro is for you. And it's in your sign, which is your ascendant sign, your sun sign, your moon sign. It's your life path, you could say, especially if this is your ascendant. It's like, I end this without emotion, and and it can be very explosive as well. And again, people don't know you like that, but you're going to be emotionally prepared. You're going to say no more. Of course, this is going to play out mostly in relationships. So if there's someone bugging you and giving you that, even you have limits and to your gentleness, because you are ruled by Venus. You're one of the most gentle signs of the zodiac. But now is the time where you're gonna you're not gonna do this anymore. You're not gonna allow crap anymore. So in what kind of relationship? Your romantic relationship, but it can also be in a business partner relationship. That you're gonna say no more. Thank you very much. Geminis, this is in your 12th house. Now, this can be the unconscious. This could be like a releasing an old pattern that is no longer, that is a good thing. Use it in that way. An old pattern, something that is close to addictions, and, to release it for once and for all. Amazing energy here. Also for insights and for sudden energy of, I'm done with it. So I hope that Geminis will be able to really cut out bad habits and bad kind of escapism that you're doing, that we are all doing every now and then. Cancerians, this is the 11th house. This is your friendship house. So there could be you towards a friend, or a friend doing something unexpected. And it's freeing in a way. So let's say you're single, that could be like all of a sudden there is a relationship, or maybe all of a sudden you cut out a relationship with a friend because no more, because you have enough of it, or a friend had enough from you. That could be the case as well. Let's hope it's not. But on another level, this can also mean a sudden windfall because it's a financial house. So especially if you work for yourself, there could be a sudden growth or a windfall financially, or some sort of a completion of a goal and of a long-term goal that you had. Leos, this is important for you, especially if you have got planets around 24 degrees of Leo, because it's your social status. And the social status is, I'm married, I'm divorced, I don't have kids, I have one kid. There's a shift in it. All of a sudden, you're going to be a dad. All of a sudden, you're going to be divorced. All of a sudden, you're going to be married. All that is really energy of, also the energy of freeing yourself up in a way. And can also be career that all of a sudden, thank you very much, I'm done. That could be happening as well, some sort of a completion there. Can also mean a connection with a parent, that there is a shift happening. Virgos, I love this for you because Taurus is a fellow earth sign. So for you Virgos, it's very positive energy. And this is about being aligned, some sort of a truth comes out. In the 9th house, this is happening in the house of insights, this is the house of clarity, the house of alignment with the divine. You kind of see it. So there's something that you're seeing now, or a sudden shift in your belief system. You believe now, like, look, this is maybe a certain belief that you had. Now you're saying, this is done. This is done. I always believed that this person, or I always have to do much more investing in people than they are investing in me. Stop that belief system. You can, because of a circumstance, you can say now, I'll get rid of that belief system. And you can, it's a good time to say a prayer. And to ask clarity. It's going to be given to you all of a sudden. Truth coming out, and you Virgos, the truth, you like it. Even if it's not in your advantage, you can deal with it. Librans, this is in your 8th house, a very secretive house. So some secrets can come out, and that is a bit shocking and surprising, but you use it in your advantage. It can be a focus on intimacy as well. The 8th house, it's that deep house of intimacy, that what is mine, what is yours, and something becomes very clear to you. It's also a money house, so there could be sudden windfalls. I've seen that many times with Moon Uranus, like in a solar return, for instance, like, all of a sudden they're getting a tax return they didn't expect. Or an investment, an inheritance, you name it. Money that you share with other people, or that come from other people to you. Again, depending on what you did before. Scorpios, this is of course relationships. This is happening in the 7th house. You could attract people now that act as what I explained in the first part of the video, the introduction. Someone you can suddenly see who they truly are. There could be endings of relationships, clarity around the relationships, or all of a sudden you begin a relationship, right? Now it is clear what the relationship is all about. There's a lot of clarity here. And of course, you don't like that shaky Uranus energy, but Uranus is in your opposite sign for quite a while. I think you really will welcome this very truthful energy. So truth will come out about another relationship or a business relationship or a romantic relationship. And, and I think you will welcome that for sure. Sagittarians, there could be this sixth house, this work, day-to-day work, day-to-day routines. All of a sudden you say, no more. I quit. Have plan B, of course, and C and D. But there could be that kind of energy or in a good way, it can be, well, it's always a good way, but completing a project, completing something that had to do with work, the end of a job, the end of debts as well, DEBT. You had a certain debt, and now Moon Uranus, you're free of it. You're free of it. Like workers. You had workers in the house and they did something and it was wrong and whatever, and you're cut off from the debt you had, right? Something frees up there. And it can be with health as well. Therefore, it's a good energy, like quitting with a bad health habit. That can be amazing. Saying no more, I quit here, with eating chocolate every day, kilos and kilos of Dascalides or whatever kind of chocolate. Capricorns, this is nice for you because you are a fellow earth sign, just like Virgos. This is, good energy flow for you. It's in the fifth house of love. So there could be a new love all of a sudden. Could be a child all of a sudden. There could be your child all of a sudden doing something Uranian-like, something very individualistic. Saying, look, Mom, I'm now going to work for myself and I'm going to leave home. Something really independent that reflects your children or also your own projects, because the fifth house is your creativity. So all of a sudden there is like this completion of a project, of a hobby, or something that you do that you love to do, what you enjoy. It's like something new. All of a sudden you're going to do bungee jumping. Very much Moon Uranus in that house. But romantic partners as well, right? That could be like, oh, I've had it with that romantic partner, and you're cutting him out or her. Or the opposite, it's like a new fresh start and it's going all very quickly. Aquarians, this is happening in the core of your chart, your fourth house. So this is important, especially if you've got planets around 24, 25 degrees of Aquarius. You're going to feel this. This could be a cutting off of, I'm going to live somewhere else. I'm going to just, the place of living, going to change it. You're going to sell, buy, or with the family, with a parent, there is like drastic changes happening. Or you're getting an emotional outburst because you've just, with the family, you just didn't say your truth or speak your truth or whatever. And now you're going to see and say what's going on. And, you're freed up emotionally, that is. Pisceans, last but not least, this is in your third house. So this has to do with relationships like in your environment, the neighbors, the siblings, and there could be sudden shifts in their lives. So maybe a sibling is, getting some sort of a freedom, and it has a knock-on effect on you. And but it could also mean, like with a neighbor, for instance, you're cutting them off. You say, no more. This is it. On another level, when you have your own business, for instance, it's a PR house. So you're doing something very Uranian, new with social media and doing something avant la lettre. There could be news coming in, surprising news, for better or for worse, surprising news out of the blue. What is this? Or you giving that news to others? You can go on a trip all of a sudden, it's the house of short trips, and you're saying, I'm off, I'm going to do this, And don't forget, this is a bit better for you, not a bit better, but this is nice energy for you because the sun is in Scorpio, trining your energy. And the moon in Taurus is sextiling your energy. So if you want to go for that trip, go for it, that short trip. learning something. All of a sudden, you're going to do a course and a workshop and so on. And it gives you that mental kind of excitement, which is lovely. Anyway, thank you so much for watching for this video about the full moon in Taurus. I wish you all the best. Check out my website if you want to order a reading. And thank you for subscribing, commenting, watching. And I wish you the best full moon ever.